Thanks for taking my Milky Way photography class. I'm here to follow up with some basic single exposure processing. So here's an image from the other night at Commons Beach. Obviously we can tell that it's a little crooked, so let's straighten that thing out first. There we go. That looks better. Now, the first thing I usually do, we'll do a global highlight recovery and open up those shadows. At this point, I find it very important to mask out the sky, and then we will do the foreground in a minute. With the sky mask, again, recovering some added highlights, opening up some shadows, and this is where it really starts to sing, is we're going to boost this contrast, and we're going to increase the dehaze. This allows those stars to really pop, but it also darkens the scene. So I usually open this exposure up about a half a stop, where, yeah, there we go. There's a half a stop on the dot, more or less. And increase that highlight recovery so we don't blow out the details within the core. And then I'm going to increase some yellow, bring in a little bit more tone, and maybe a hint of magenta. The color adjustments is very dependent on the scene and just kind of your general mood. Boost that contrast some more. That's looking pretty nice on that end. So we're going to make another mask. This one's going to be for the foreground. So we're going to select that sky and invert it. Poof, there we go. Now we're talking about the foreground. And similar, we're going to open up these shadows and maybe add just a little bit of yellow to bring those lights comparable to what we were seeing with our eyes. Now this is the part that is an artistic impression or choice. But what I will do is add an additional mask, but as a brush. I'm going to tone this way down into a dark, or into a blue here. And I'm going to add that blue along the water. For Lake Tahoe and most bodies of water, people associate that with the blue color and not that kind of odd yellow that we get in the night sky. But if we cover up all of that and tone it into a more blue, I've noticed from a gallery sales perspective, it seems to help people visually. That might have been a little bit too much, so I'm going to drop it back down. There we go. Find a nice little middle ground. I'm going to go back to that original foreground and just kind of tune it up a little bit more, maybe add a little bit magenta. And that right there, folks, is the bread and butter for Milky Way processing. At this point, if you want, sometimes it's nice to play around with your color mixers, and you can sometimes recover a little bit more out of the Milky Way core itself. This particular image, not so much. It was shot pretty cleanly as is. And then it is nice from a printing perspective to go ahead and add a little chromatic aberration removal. And that's about all there is to it. Maybe we can punch the saturation of the vibrance up just a little bit. And that's it.